Hello, I'm Azai. Welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. Been a long time, but I can finally say this once again. I just came back from the gym, and oh boy, my muscles are fucking sore. Last time I went to the gym was before Chinese New Year, so it's been almost a month, about 3 weeks. Freaking COVID actually made me not able to go to the gym. But I can finally say that, Jesus, it feels so good. And like I said, my muscles are sore again. But yeah. It's been, I don't know, a couple of days since I played this. I feel like every time I say this on each and new episode, I always forget about that whole like and subscribe thing. I don't know, it still feels awkward. Maybe it's because I'm not really a video guy, so I know it's like only 1 second of saying like and subscribe, but it never like occurred to me in my head to actually say the word. So that's why it just, I don't know, feels weird. But yeah, last time we read through the story, we were inside of Machina's route. I think only 20 minutes in, and we were telling everyone about how we became Machina's papa. Everyone took it, I say, fairly well, and now we're telling JB now. I still remember, I think it's only been, what, 1 or 2 days since I played this? Why does everyone react the exact same way to this news? As soon as lunchtime rolled around, I headed up to the rooftop, cell phone in hand. I'm currently enjoying a pleasant conversation with shaggy-headed Julia, that is Harudera Yuria, also known as JB. In the old days, senior officers in the Navy were apparently required to receive permission from the Bureau of Personnel before entering into marriage. Given their access to various secrets, even their partners were subject to scrutiny. As a dog picked up by Akasaka and kept in the custody of Ichigaya, my situation's very similar. Making intimate friends requires approval from above. Might sound a bit ridiculous, but given that incident 3 years ago where an agent's foreign wife supposedly helped leak info from inside Ichigaya, it's hard to laugh off as mere paranoia. Had that blunder occurred in America, death sentences for treason wouldn't have been out of the question. Even in Japan, the so-called spy heaven, they've gotten much more cautious about potential honey traps since then. Not exactly. I just promised her I'd become her father, that's all. True, she never specifically said that we would take her under our name or something like that. So what, I think it was Amane that said it previously. It's basically the next step up of make-believe family, right? I think she was actually spot on about that. Well, yes, but I figured I should report it now to avoid potential headaches later. What's that supposed to mean? Really? What kind of relationship do we have? I can hear the muffled sound of JB tapping away at her keyboard on the other end of the call.
イリス・マキナの父親、イリス・マサタカは防衛省管理部の会計官だったみたいね。数年前に事故死してるけど。
An accidental death?
書類上はね。実際のところは事件に巻き込まれて殺害されたみたいだけど。ってあれ？
What's wrong?
あらら、これはちょっと結構複雑かも。ああ、事故死ってそっちの事故死として処理されてるんだ。
What are you talking about? Mind giving a coherent explanation?
あなたが国家に反逆すれば事故死するでしょ。同じ意味での事故死よ。つまりこの入須正孝さんは国家に不利益をもたらす存在として処理されたのね。
Were we the ones who disposed of him?
違うみたい。
I see. If Makina's father had been dealt with by my colleagues, I'm not sure how I would have been able to face the girl. Hey JB, mind putting all the material you've got on this together and sending it over to me?
ダメよ。一応部外費なんだから。本当ならこうして口頭で伝えるのも義務違反なのよ。
Yeah, should you really be doing this, JB? You're giving Yuji a bit too much preferential treatment. There we go. I understand that I'm asking the unreasonable, but is there any way you can bend the rules on this one?
そんなもの知ってどうするのよ。
I'll decide once I have it. Can you help me out, JB? Please, Julia. Damn you, Yuji.
もう分かったわよ。送ってあげるけど出せる情報にも限界はあるからあまり期待しないでちょうだい。
Man, I wish this is not that sort of game. I wish like people are a bit more rational in dealing with Yuji. JB is just too weak to Yuji, man. You know, what with the whole harem protagonist thing? Females just bend over to Yuji's will. Damn you, God! Understood. I'm in your debt. I'd more or less figured out that Makina came from a wealthy family, and I was aware that her father passed away some time ago. But I certainly didn't expect her to be part of a clan so deeply involved with national affairs, much less one connected to us, however indirectly. On top of it all, Makina's the eldest daughter of the head family, but somehow ended up being cast out? The information's far too fragmentary for me to even speculate, but there must be some complex circumstances involved.
パパ、こんなところにいた。もう探したのよ。こんなとこで何してるのよさ。一緒にお弁当食べようと思って待ってたのに。
Ah, sorry. Even as I'm sliding the cell phone back into my shirt pocket, I drop my other hand onto my indignant young friend's head. I was just doing a little thinking.
何か悩み事？
No, nothing serious.
私のことで何か悩んでたり？
I said it's nothing. You're sensitive about the weirdest things sometimes, Makina. I proceed to muss the girl's hair around vigorously.
How?
Not that it's anything as dramatic as you seem to think, but I'll admit to worrying about our new arrangement. I told you I'd become your father, but I don't have the first clue what that specifically involves. Pretty pathetic, right? I've been thinking about it constantly.
それでいいのよ。別に何か特別なことをしてほしいわけじゃないし。
I mean, as a guy that's still single and I'm on my, what? Let me see. I'm almost on my 25th birthday. I have zero idea about what it means to be a father, what it means to be a boyfriend, in fact. I don't know. I'm just too individualistic, I guess. My mind is still thinking mostly about how to survive, how to keep myself afloat. I barely got time into thinking about how I would want someone else to become happy.
でも、一個だけ約束してくれる？
What's that?
死なないでね。
No can do. Everyone who lives eventually dies.
そりゃそうかもしれんけど。じゃあ、パパが私を殺してくれる？
It's a very big request, Makina, and out of nowhere. Sorry, I don't follow the logic here.
だってパパが死ぬところを見たくないから。
I see. She doesn't want to see her father die. I guess that's only normal. All the more understandable in Makina's case, given the loss of her actual father at a young age. It's natural for a child to be dependent on her parents, and this death was abrupt, apparently violent. Although the circumstances were different, I lost my entire family early on, so I can imagine what it must have been like. The impact of losing your immediate family takes time to sink in. Immediately after the loss, you don't feel sorrow so much as numbness. Considering I also lost my mom at an early age when I was about 7 years old, it actually was a bit weird. Yuji is right about that. It wasn't necessarily sorrow because at that point, I think I wasn't even understanding enough about the whole concept of life and death. So I wasn't really sad, but more so like, you know, I thought that my mom wouldn't be here for a while or something like that. When I was younger, I wasn't the smartest or brightest kid, okay? As the days roll past, you'll slowly come to realize that you're alone, that you'll never see them again. When you're finally able to process the fact that you're on your own from now on, emotions hit you like a truck. Anxiety so strong it's more like terror. Despair cold enough to leave you shivering. Sorrow that turns your legs to jelly.
私のために死のうだなんて思わないでね。迷惑だから。
Duly noted.
そんなことよりお腹空いたのよさ。ご飯にしよう。お弁当持ってきたのよ。ほら。
Oh. Indeed. There's a stylish little lunch basket dangling from Akina's stubby fist. What? Did you make this?
ああ、
So it's Amane's work then.
サンドイッチ作ったのは私だよ。でもフライとかコールスローとか作ったのはアマネ。
Makina flips open the lid of her basket to demonstrate. One half is packed with sandwiches of some kind. Next to them are a variety of side dishes, fish fritters and french fries, carrots and cabbage, finely sliced ham, and spiroquette? The fuck is that? Spiroquette-shaped macaroni garnished with coleslaw. What can I say? No matter what Amane makes, she does a thorough job.
一応ね、私もアマネにお料理習ってたりするんだよ。
By the way, Makina, tell me something.
何さ？
What's this hemispherical yellow sandwich supposed to be?
それはメロンパンサンドなのよ。半分に切ったメロンパンに果肉たっぷりのメロンジャムとふんわりとホイップした生クリームがたっぷりサンドしてあるのよさ。
Contrary to popular belief, but melon pan doesn't actually have melon jam or any sort of melony thing inside of it. Usually it's plain bread with a lot of sugar on top, I'm guessing. And sometimes it does have custard or whipped cream.
スイーツ感覚でお腹も大満足なのよ。
I don't know. I think this thing is pretty much the definition of a dessert, actually. Do we not have any, conventional sandwiches?
普通のは今朝食ったべよ。だからお昼は甘いのにしてみた。
I mean, I can't blame Makina. Sometimes when I'm hungry and I just want to eat some sweets for lunch, I just down like, you know, a dozen donuts and that's it. Never really think about anything that's savory and all that. Just something sweet. Oh, sorry if you hear that. I was trying to adjust my mic stand. I see. So what? We're going to be eating this sugary abomination as the main course while munching on fish fritters and coleslaw? I mean, you can put it on hold, Yuji. Maybe eat it at the last part. What kind of taste combination is that going to be? I mean, I'm usually pretty indifferent to such culinary concerns, but this is still making me a little dubious. Well, it's all the same once you've got it in your stomach.
お？やっぱあれかい？パパは甘くない方が良かった？
Well, it's not like I dislike sweet things on principle, but...
じゃあ明日はメロンパンに焼きそばを挟んだ焼きそばメロンパンにするね。
Don't go stuffing random things in there. I feel sorry for the melon buns.
待ってよ。メロンパンをメロンパンで挟むダブルメロンパンというのはどうなのよさ。
That's quite the unconventional combination. Just eat two melon puns, damn it.
どうしよう、すごいアイデアなのよさ。急変なメロンパン業界に刷新的な新風を吹き込む革命児が誕生する予感がするのよさ。
I don't think so, Machina. I think there are a lot of people who already made like burgers inside of burgers, right? Or like pizzas inside of a burger and stuff like that. Very weird sort of food combination. Nothing that I would touch myself. Maybe back then when I wasn't really into fitness and health, I would have eaten that sort of thing. But now that I know just how many calories those are, I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna stay away.
私、自分の才能が恐ろしい。
I see. Sounds as though a new way will soon be dawning, or a new day will soon be dawning on the melon bun industry. Laughing wryly despite myself, I give Machina's head another 2 firm pats for good measure. Have to say, this head is in a perfect position to thump. The thought naturally brings a smile to my face. That startles me a little. I'm aware that I've been getting a little careless since I've come to this school. Sometimes I let down my guard without even noticing it. But then again, I suppose that's probably a more normal mode of existence than the alternative.
どうかした？
Sorry, it's nothing. I'm hungry, let's eat. And so, I ate lunch alone with Machina. It's only 10 minutes later that I discovered this decision was somewhat thoughtless. When I returned to the classroom, empty picnic baskets dangling from one hand while holding Machina's hand with the other. Our classmates draw simultaneous sharp little breaths of surprise. What's the matter?
いや、なんで手つないでんのかなって。
Does a father need a reason to lead his daughter along by the hand?
そうじゃないけどさ。なんだよもう。私と手をつなぐのはあんなに嫌がったくせにさ。
Did I? If you say so.
これだもん。無自覚ってもう悪意だよね。
Amane shoots a look around the room out of the corner of her eyes, but none of the others even glance over here, let alone voice their agreement. Sakaki's playing with tufts of her long hair, focusing intently on every strand as if concerned about split ends. Elbows braced on her desk, Michiru rests her chin in her hands and stares out the window, blowing air tunelessly through her lips in what I can only assume is an attempt at whistling. Sachi, doing her best impression of a robot waiting for someone to input new orders, stay absolutely still, her eyes steadily fixed on an arbitrary point of empty space. I've seen this kind of thing before. Even at my previous school, there was a day when just this sort of hazy, difficult to describe atmosphere settled in the classroom. Right. This same-sex couple in the class had become public knowledge. The two of them got sick of hiding and came out to everyone at once in this big dramatic announcement. The classroom that afternoon was very much like this. But why now? I simply informed them of my new position as Machina's father. That's all. And the two of us are of the opposite gender, so our walking hand in hand shouldn't offend even the most delicate sexual sensibilities. Or maybe the sight of a man like me pulling a girl like Machina along by the hand is just too incongruous in itself. Well, yeah, I'm aware that I'm not exactly well suited for that role, but it's just Machina, right? What's all this then? If you people have something to say, why don't you just spit it out?
別にいいんじゃない？誰も文句はないみたいだし。
Amane seems to be directing this question to the rest of the classroom as much as me. When no rebuttal arrives, she turns her back on me with a disdainful little snort, then saunters back to her desk. I feel like... I don't know, maybe it's because I've been streaming for a bit, but... the game is actually a bit lower than I would have liked. Let me actually make it a bit louder by like 5% or something. Does that work? I don't get it.
ね、パパ、私、隣の席でお勉強してもいい？
I don't really mind, I guess.
ほんじゃ、教科書取ってくんね。
We've got all of 6 students in a classroom that could accommodate 40. There's more than enough spare seats, and in practice, everyone just goes where they feel like. So this change doesn't pose any logistical issues. However, why are you moving as well?
なんで来ちゃいけないわけ？
Not really, but
だっていつもマキナに勉強を教えてるのは私だよ。
I see. Alright, I guess I'll have to accept that in your case. However, you over there, why are you settling up on us as well?
はい、私ですか？
Who else would I be talking to? Don't give me that is this man insane face.
私はあれです。もはやわざとやってんじゃねえのと疑いたくなるほど頻繁にボキボキと芯を折るマキちゃんにシャーペンの芯を安定供給する係ですが、何か？
What about that is obvious? I mean, well, I guess it's not really a problem, but... Okay, no, hold on a second. Hey you! Bottle blonde! What's your deal? What are you supposed to be in charge of?
私は別にだってアマネは私の前に座ったら黒板がよく見えなくなっちゃうじゃない。アマネでかいから。だから
Oh, sorry, I thought she was done.
でかいって
Sorry.
言わないでくれる？つか私がでかいんじゃなくてあんたが小さいんじゃないの？
Nah, Amane is definitely huge for a girl. I think she's about 170 centimeters or something. I think in inches and feet, she's about 5'10" or something like that. I myself am 5'1", super small in comparison. I am about as tall as Sachi for the most part. Maybe 2 inches higher.
うるさいわね。いいからとっとと座りなさいよ。黒板が見えないじゃない。お？なんだお前ら。なんでみんな集まってんの？それはね、みんなマキナのそばで勉強したいからよ。へえ、そうなんだ。私って人気者？じゃあさ、あそこでさっきからありもしない枝毛を延々と探してるふりに余念がないあの子はなんでこっち来ねえの？まああの子はね。ねえねえ、そこのあなた、こっち来ない？一緒にお勉強しようよ。ねえってば、そこの図星刺されて急に枝毛探すのやめたあなた。あなたよあなた。おめえに言ってんのよ。私に言っているのかしら？うわー、びっくりした。つかなんでいつも怒ってんの？逆に聞きますけど、どうしてあなたはいつもそうやって私を怒らせるの？あ？どうした？腹減ってんのか？別に空腹でイライラしているわけじゃないわ。もう、わけわかんないし手に負えないのよさ。それは私のセリフよ。はーい、それでは生物の授業を始めますよ。皆さん席についてください。あら？どうして皆さんそんなに寄り集まって座っているんですか？
Don't ask me. I've got no damn clue.
コアはイリスさんなのかしら？コア？そうですね。ちょうどいいのでこのまま説明しましょう。今日の授業はカビの発生とコロニーの形成、そして成長パターンを実際の実験で学びましょう。まずは実験用の培地を配りますので取りに来てください。
Comparing a classroom of dues paying students to a writhing dish of smelly fungi. That's right up there with the officer who attempted to inspire his kamikaze squad by informing them that each and every one of you maggots look like a sinking enemy ship to me, on the sensitivity scale. In our enlightened modern age, where the use of abusive language toward pupils is seen as problematic, it might not have been the wisest rhetorical device. But the principal's analogy proved quite clear and interesting. As it turned out, our Machina-centered colony maintained its strange internal tension throughout the rest of the school day. The moment the last bell finally rings, everyone heaves a long, weary sigh. Finally over, huh? Today was really tiring for some reason.
疲れた時
時には甘いものがいいのよ。ね、パパ、寮に帰る前に何か甘いものを食べに行こうよ。
Man, how do you not get fat, Machina? This is the problem with our society, man. They make these cute little girls eating whatever the fuck they want, and then suddenly, boom, 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 they never get fat. But in real life, if you practice the same shit, boom, 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 obesity. Well, let's see. I wouldn't particularly mind taking the girl out for a snack, but I'm not sure about letting her snarf pastries before dinner. I unconsciously looked to mommy for guidance. Where'd Amani go?
なんかね、休養があるとか言ってチャイムと同時にダッシュで出て行ったよ。
Pressing business? Did you ask her what that involved?
聞いてないのよさ。
Come to think of it, I don't see any of the others either. Where'd they all go?
さあ、なんか知らないけど、みんなアマネーの後を追うみたいにしてさっさと出て行っちゃったのよ。
Strange. I think I detect a faint whiff of something like conspiracy in the air. Just my imagination?
きっとあれじゃね。私とパパのデートの邪魔しないように気使ってくれたのよさ。
Date?
知らない？男の子と女の子が二人っきりで美味しいものを食べに行くのをデートって言うのよ。
That's a date? I thought it'd be, something a little more romantic. You're subtly mistaken, but the general thrust of the argument isn't wrong. And correcting you would be a pain in the ass. Guess I'll let it slide.
じゃあデートすっか？パパは何が食べたい？
Well, I had more than enough sugar at lunch. I'm in the mood for something better tuned to the subtle needs of the masculine snacker. Something that leaves a hint of sweetness, but doesn't overpower you with syrupy goop.
なんかそれ微妙にわがままな注文なのよさ。
Let's see. Japanese pastry of some sort, I guess. Something with red bean paste would be good. To be honest, I still tend to think of bean paste as slang for the explosive powder packed inside grenades and landmines and such. But while playing a normal student, I'm far removed from all that. I may start gaining weight if this keeps up, but I suppose that shouldn't present a major impediment either. If I remember correctly, there was a taiyaki place in that food court by the station supermarket.
あ、いいね。私たい焼き大好き。食べに行こうよ。
Don't stuff your face too much, alright? Amane won't be pleased if you can't manage to eat dinner.
わかってるって。私ハム&チーズがいいのよさ。
Ham and cheese instead of taiyaki? I mean, I've eaten some custard one, and also like green tea custard. I never actually ate the one with red bean paste. That actually sounds delicious too. Ham and cheese? What? Where?
たい焼きの具なのよさ。今やたい焼きも時代の流れとともに劇的な変化を遂げているのよ。
I see. But ham and cheese aren't exactly sweet, are they?
そういう細けいことはどうでもいいのよさ。とにかく行こうぜな。
Sure, I guess. I leave the classroom, tugged along by Machina, watching this excited shrimp of a girl urging me to hurry. It almost feels like I'm walking one of those hot-blooded little mutts that practically drag their owners toward the dog run out of sheer enthusiasm. Come to think of it, my old pet dog had some of this restless energy as well. The corners of my mouth twitch up a little at the thought. But still, where'd Amani run off to anyway? Meanwhile, in the Mahama Academy's second conference room.
さて皆さん、本日ここに集まっていただいた理由はもうご理解いただけていると思いますが、本日の議題は風見雄二とイリス・マキナのあれってぶっちゃけどうなのということで、本日議長を務めさせていただきます SO エーネです。よろしくお願いいたします。
Sure, whatever, Amani.
まずは具体的な状況の説明になりますが、我々女の園であるこの美浜学園に突如として転入してきた風見雄二。彼の転入当初でこそ若干の混乱と戸惑いを覚えた我々でしたが、日を追うにつれ 異性であるところの彼に少なからぬ興味と憎からぬ感情を持つようになり、やがては我知らず彼を目で追い始めるという淡い恋心にも似た。
ちょっといいかしら？
Why are you here, Chizuru? What the fuck?
はい、どうしました同志シーズル。
どうして私まで呼び出されたのかしら？
どうしても何も、あなたこの学園の学園長でしょうが。
ちっいけませんね同志 M チル。一応この場は正体を隠したまま本音で意見をぶつけ合う場ですよ。個人を特定できるような発言は控えましょう。
そんな建前を掲げたところで正体なんてバレバレじゃないのよ。
日本人が建前をなくしたらおしまいよ。それにこれは様式美というものです。こうして顔を隠して話し合うからこそ普段は口にできない本音というものが出て活発な意見交換につながるのです。
まあ女の子同士の集団にはストレスがつきものだし、こういった話し合いの席が必要なのは認めますけどね。
今さりげなく自分を女の子のカテゴリーに加えましたね。その辺は目をつぶるとして同志シーズル、すでにネタは上がっているんですよ。
ネタって何のお話かしら？
今ここでお話ししてもいいお覚悟です。同志ケイミネ、調査資料を読み上げて。
はい、資料番号512号、ピーチバナシーズルにおける素行調査及び効果表。調査担当者ケイミネ S チ。これはここ数日学園内を掃除しながらさりげなく調査対象者であるピーチバナシーズルを尾行監視した結果をまとめたものです。某月某日0730時、自家用車にて出勤の途中、朝のランニング中の風見裕二と遭遇。そのまま車で追い越し、職員用駐車場内にて風見裕二がやってくるのを待ち接触。
それが何だというの？彼を偶然見かけたから朝の挨拶をしようと待っていただけでしょ？
私の観測によると、風見裕二を待っている間、車の中でサンバイザーの裏のバニティミラーを使用し、前髪を直しつつ手早く化粧を整えていました。教え子に朝の挨拶をするというだけの行為に対し、化粧を直し、天津さえ大人の女を演出するがごとく、両手首と耳の裏に高額な香水を塗布した理由をご説明いただけますか？
そんなところまで見ていたの？
我々の調査力を侮らないことです。同志ケイミネは任務に対して極めて忠実です。調べろといえば、あなたの使っているトイレットペーパーのブランドすら調べ上げます。
香水をつけたのは人と会う前のエチケットの一環です。他意はありません。
他意はないですか。では同日の放課後の件についてご説明いただけますか？調査書によると、学園長室で居眠りをしているふりをして同室を訪ねてきた彼にいたずらされるのを待っていたという報告がありますが、
連日の激務でついうとうととしてしまっただけね。
それはどうでしょう。彼が学園長室の扉に手をかける直前まであなたは普通に書類に目を通していたと資料にありますよ。あなたは彼に声をかけられてもたぬき寝入りを続け、彼に抱きかかえられてソファーに運ばれることを期待していた。そして事実そうなった後、寝返りを打つふりをして彼の眼前に無防備な唇をさらし、キスされるのを待っていたのではありませんか？
そんなことは私は教育者ですよ。
先生、もう諦めてください。この場に呼ばれたという時点で全てが手遅れなのです。
榊さん、まさかあなた。
私は榊ではありません。S鍵ワイミコです。そういうことにしておけば、ここでの会話は日常に何ら影響を及ぼしません。
そんな、あなたまでどうして。
サチにハードディスクの中身を見られたのが誤算だったわね。
エムチル様、私はサチではありません。ケイミネ S 値です。何度言えばご理解いただけるのでしょうか。
うっかりよ、ちょっとしたボンミスよ。もう間違えないから、私の日記に書かれたポエムを音読するのはもうやめて。
ポエムというと、夏の夜、あなたは私の肩をそっと抱いて、やかましいです。エムチル様、何をそんなに恥ずかしがることがあるというのですか。四季を通じて紡がれたポエム、実に美しいではありませんか。特に私は寒い冬、彼のポケットに手を入れてという一節が。
Sorry, if you hear like some noises sometimes, it's actually me trying to laugh, but also trying to mute my mic. Sometimes I laugh like without able to mute my mic in time, so I do apologize. But enjoy the scene.
どうされました？急に獣のようなお声を。ついに脳が？
ついにって言うな。なんか気の毒そうな目で私を見るな。どうしケイミネ、もうその辺で許してあげて。なんかもう泣いてるからね。
エーネさんがそうおっしゃるのでしたら。
そういうあんただって、掃除してる時に頭に乗っかった葉っぱを幼児に取ってもらって、あいつの手が耳に触れた時、顔真っ赤にして思わず「うん」とか言ってブルーって震えてたくせに、私見てたんだからね。
それは。
しかもあいつがいなくなった後、胸に手を当てて「ふー」とか言って、このエロメイド。
あれは一時の気の迷いです。たまたまスイッチが入ったと言いますか、私は別に常に彼をそういう目で見ているわけでは。
まあ少し落ち着きなさい、同志ケイミネ。
でも私はエロメイドじゃありません。
今さら隠しても始まらないでしょ。あなたが有事に触れられた後、たまたまスイッチが入ってしまって、竹ぼうきを抱えながら庭木に背中を預けて息を荒げていたのは事実です。恥ずかしがることはないわ。ここにいるのは全員同志よ。この場におられる皆さんに問います。風見雄二をネタにしたことがある方は正直に挙手願います。それはさすがに。そういうあんたはどうなのよ。したことあるっていうの？もちろんあります。嫌がる私の口に無理やりねじ込まれて、髪をつかまれて、乱暴に腰を振られる妄想がお気に入りです。えぐ、何その妄想、えぐすぎじゃない？基本ド M なので。
私は優しくしてもらう方が好みです。何と言いますか、メイドの私をお姫様のようにそっと優しく扱ってくれるようなのがいいです。同志ケイミネはそういうの似合うよね。エムチルはやっぱあれ？彼の前で自然と素直になれる自分がいて、彼にベタベタに甘えてるところを想像しちゃう感じ？なんで知ってんのよ。私の頭の中を見たの？あんたエスパー。いや、なんかあんた男に甘えるの下手っぽいし、そのくせバカップルっぽいイチャイチャに強い憧れみたいなの持ってんのかなってなんとなく思っただけ。なんかエムチルってペアルックとか好きそう。つか勝手におかしな私を想像しないでよ。いいでしょ。私がどんな妄想したって私の勝手でしょ。まあいいけどね。ちなみに同志エスカキさんは私に近いよね。なんかおもちゃみたいに乱暴に扱われて、わけわかんなくなるぐらいめちゃくちゃにされてる自分を想像してハフハフ言っちゃうタイプ。どうせ違うと言っても認める気はないのでしょ。
ええ、そうよ。私は救いようのない M 女よ。それで満足？そうね。私とキャラ被ってんのはちょっと気に入らないけど、まあいいでしょ。ちなみに同志シーズルもどっちかっていうと M 寄りですよね。
ですよねって言われても困っちゃうんですけど。
こんなこと本当はいけないのよみたいなこと言って、結局は自分の教え子に体を許してしまう甘い年上の女気取りですか？どうしました？なんか変な汗かいてるみたいですけど。なんかこう鼻にかかったような甘い声出して、仕方のない子ね、 B はいらっしゃい、でも一度だけ、今回だけよみたいなこと言ってる自分に酔いしれていたりするんですね。しかも一度だけ、今回だけと言いつつも、女としてくたびれ始めた体をすごいすごいと喜んでくれる彼に求められると、強く拒むことができない自分を妄想してはうっとりしてたりするんですね。SO さん、もうその辺で。そうね。泣かれても鬱陶しいし。ひどい。あれ？でもこうして冷静に考えてみると、私たちの中にド S っていないよね。JB とかっていううさんくさい金髪女あたりがそうなんじゃないの？それはどうかな。これは私の勘だけど、あの人もどっちかっつうと M の匂いがするのよね。何を根拠に？だから勘だってば。なんかあの人下手すればあの年で処女なんじゃないかって気もするのよね。なんていうの？自分の女としての価値を高く見積もりすぎて、理想の男が現れるのをずっと待ってるうちに今の年齢になっちゃったみたいな。
なんとなくですけれど、言わんとすることはわかりますね。ビッチを気取ってはいますが、実は処女ってのはエーネさんに通ずるところがありますし。
そうじゃん。なんだかんだ言ってもええね。あんただって少女じゃないのよ。平気平気。私まだ若いし。
それは認識が甘いと思いますよ。そうやって若さに甘えていると、いつの間にか30歳も目前に迫ってくるのです。なんです？どうして皆さんじっと私の顔を見ているんですか？
こんなことを聞くのは甚だ失礼かとは存じますが、同志シーズル、まさかまだ。
そんなわけないでしょ。私を何歳だと思っているんですか？私はもうとっくの昔に経験していますとも。学生の頃とか、それはもう乾く暇がないぐらいバンバンにしてましたし、むしろやりすぎでクラスメートからは少しは自粛しなさいと注意を受けるほどね。
余計なお世話かもしれませんが、嘘をつこうとすると途端に多弁になるその癖、直した方がいいと思いますよ。やっぱ嘘なの？
同志シーズルはどちらかというと、お昼休みにバレーボールをしに行くお友達を尻目に、教室の隅で一人文庫本を読みふけるような学生だったように見受けられます。
なんか簡単に想像できるわ。むしろ既視感があるわね。どうして私を見るのよ？エスカキさん、よく見て。これが10年後のあなたよ。
これって言いながら私を指ささないでもらえるかしら。
つまり何？この場にいるのって全員少女？ぐわー、何それ、悲しい。
若いうちに女としての努力を怠った者の末路はこうなるという、まさに反面教師の鏡ですね。
ひどすぎる。それはあまりです。
まあそのうちいい男が現れますよ、きっと。多分、おそらく、メイビー。
そんな玉虫色の慰めはいりません。
まあここにいる全員風見さんをマキちゃんに取られちゃったんですけどね。
そうだった。そのことすっかり忘れてた。
そもそも本来はその件について話し合うためにここに集まったのでしょ。
まあ誰もが認めたくないからその話題に触れたくなかったのかもね。
だいたい何なの？今日になって急に父親になるってどういうこと？
ほらみんなもマキナがどういう子かってもう分かってるでしょ。大財閥の長女ってのがどんなものかなんて私には想像するしかないけど、エスカキさんなんかは少しは理解できるんじゃない？
そうね、幸せなことばかりではないというのは理解できるわ。
マキナから聞いた話じゃ母親はあまりマキナのことを可愛がってくれなかったみたいだし、だから私はあの子のお母さんの代わりになってあげようって思ったわけなんだけどさ。
確かマキちゃんを一番可愛がってくれたお父さんも事故で亡くしてるんですよね。
そんなのあの子に限った話じゃないわよ。家族に恵まれない子なんていくらでもいるじゃない。
分かってる。あんたの言いたいこともちゃんと分かってるよ。でもさ、あの子はちゃんと自分からユージに言ったんだよ。私のパパになってくださいって勇気を出して自分の口で言ったんだよ。それは認めてあげなきゃいけないんじゃないのかな。
それは
マキちゃんにはそれだけ風見さんが必要だったということでしょうか。
それがなんとなく分かったからユージもマキナを受け入れたんじゃないかってそう思うのよね。同志シーズルはどう思いますか？じゃないですよ。私たちの話ちゃんと聞いてました？
もちろん。なんていうか、あなたたちの個人的な事情を詳細に知っている私としては話を聞いているだけで無駄にドキドキしますね。
では全ての事情を加味した上でシーズルのご意見をお聞かせいただけますか？
そうね、確かにこの学園にいる子は全員が何らかの形で複雑な事情を抱えています。皆さん一人一人誰もが自分の事情で手一杯で他人の不幸を思いやる余裕もないことでしょうし、私はそれを薄情だとは思いません。それでもこうして皆さんが自主的に集まり最善を話し合うのは大変喜ばしいことだと思います。
その話し合いの結果、彼らの関係を不適切として強制的に別れさせようと結論されてもですか？
それはそれで一つの結果です。あなたたちが真剣に話し合った結果であれば私は何も言いません。
自主性の尊重といえば聞こえはいいですけどね。
縛り付けてどうにかなる程度の事情ならそもそもうちの学園には来ないでしょう。誰が何のために作った入れ物だと思っているんです。ごめんなさい、今のは言い過ぎましたね。
いいえ。
で結局どうすんのよあの二人。認めるの？認めないの？
認める認めないという結論はひとまず置いておくとして、まずはぶっちゃけどうなのよということなのではないかと。
大体さ、みんな何か勘違いしてるかもしれないけどあくまでも父親ごっこだからね。
でもさ、教室に手つないで戻ってきたよね。あれって父親っていうよりむしろ恋人ごっこなんじゃないの？
それに今朝マキちゃんから発せられた私の男になったからおめえら手出すんじゃねえぞという言葉も気になります。風見さんもそれを否定する様子もありませんでしたし。
いやあれは言ってみたかっただけだと思うよ。
それでも風見さんが女の子と手をつないで歩いているという姿が意外でした。どちらかといえばそういうベタベタした接触は好まない方だとお見受けしていたので、あれはやはりそんな恥ずかしい真似ができるかとぶっきらぼうな態度で突っぱねておきながらも、マキちゃんがしゅんと落ち込んだのを見て 今回だけだぞ的な言い訳をしつつ、そっと手を差し伸べた感じなのでしょうか。
Oh, give me a sec. It's already 7 o'clock. I gotta turn off my night light. There we go.
何そのツンデレ男子。同志エスカキさんはどう思う？
どう思うも何も当人同士が合意の上で行動しているのだから勝手にすればいいじゃない。私には関係ないわ。
そうやってへそを曲げて背中を見せていれば、風見さんが気にかけてくれると思っていませんか？エスカキさんはずるいです。いつもそうやって放っておけない女を気取って彼の気を引こうとしています。
あなた、なんだか最近私に対しての風当たりが強くない？
すみません。思ったことや言いたいことはちゃんと口にしろと去る方に言われましたので。
お猿に言われたの？何よその目は。言いたいことがあるならはっきりと言いなさいよ。
猿は黙ってろ。全然話が進まない。
ねえ、あなたたちっていつもこんな話し合いを？
はあ、まあ話し合いの必要があると判断された時だけですけど、たまに。だいたいさ、なんでユージは父親になってくれなんて言われて OK したの？そりゃあれよ、さっきも言ったけど、そうする必要があるってユージが認めたからでしょ。それにユージって基本的に年下に甘いしね。そうなの？同志ケイミネだってユージに甘く接されている自覚はあるでしょ？
はい。
だよね。考えてもみなさいよ。ユージが気安く頭に手を乗せてポンポンするのって年下ばっかじゃない？はあ、そういえば私はされたことない。いや、あんたの場合は下手に頭触ったら怒りそうだし。怒んないわよ。別に怒らないし。そう？じゃあ今度本人の前でそう言ってみたら？あんたが撫でたかったら撫でてもいいわよ。別に怒らないし。でも勘違いしないでよね。別に撫でてほしいって言ってるわけじゃないんだからね。って感じで。あんた天才。最近それよく言われるな。まあいいや、メモっときな。勉強になるわね。
エーネさんは風見さんに頭を撫でられたことはないんですか？
ないわね。やっぱあれか？頭の位置が微妙に高いから撫でにくいのかも。でも一度だけ背後からそっと抱きついて驚かそうとした時、急に振り返ってカッと頭をつかまれたことはあるかな？
それは撫でられたというよりはアイアンクローなのでは。
同志エスカキさんは頭撫でられたことないの？
ないわね。それほど親しくなった覚えもないし。
ワイミコの場合、私より撫でにくいんじゃない？なんか頭を撫でても無反応でさ、何の真似かしらとか冷たく言い放ちそうだし。
否定はしないわ。基本的に頭に触られるのは嫌いだし。
こんなこと聞いていいのかどうかわかりませんが、同志シーズルはユージに頭を撫でられたことはありますか？
そんなのもちろんありませんよ。
それはやはり年齢的な問題で？
まあね。いい年したおばはんが若い男にいい子されてハフハフ言ってちゃまずいしね。
エーネさん、それはあまりに言葉が過ぎます。せめて中年女性とお改めください。
中年。
初老と呼ぶには若干抵抗がありますし、それが適切かと。
なんだか私、胸が苦しくなってきました。
更年期障害でしょうか。どうぞお大事に。
ついに泣かしちゃったよ。
どうしてこう毎回話が脱線するのかしら。
どこまで話したんだっけ？要約すると風見雄二のロリコン疑惑？
どこをどう要約すればそういうことになるの？
だって考えてもみてよ、私だよ。言ってる意味がわかんない。ボリューム満点のナイスバディで、しかもよく気が利いてちょっとエッチなお姉さんだよ。雄二ぐらいの年の男の子の憧れじゃん。それこそ夢中になって飛びついてくるもんなんじゃないの？それがどうよ。ちょっと過激めのコミュニケーションをとってもうざいとか暑苦しいとかさ。なんなの？女としての自信が音立てて崩れるわよ。いけすかない JB とかって女も無駄に乳がでかいし、大きいのはもう飽きてるんじゃない？やっぱ胸とかも小さい方が。どうし S かきさん、あなたバスト何センチ？
どうして答えなければいけないの？
どうし M チルはマキナと比べれば胸あるけど、それでも小さい方だよね。普通よ、普通。っていうかなんで父のサイズの話になるのよ。じゃあ悪ふざけはこの辺にして確信に触れるけどいいわよ。ユージとマキナが男女交際することに反対意見のある人、挙手願います。反対意見はゼロってことでいいのね。じゃあ逆に賛成の人は？私は賛成。あんたはそれでいいの？ねえ、そりゃあちょっと悔しいけどさ、まあユージがそう決めたのなら仕方がないかなって思うし、ユージにならマキナを任せても大丈夫だって、そんな確信もあるのよね。だから賛成。
私もマキちゃんには幸せになってほしいってそう思います。賛成です。
言ったと思うけど、当人同士で決めた問題に賛成も反対もないの？勝手にしたらいいのよ。それでもあえて公費を問うのなら、そうね、賛成しておくわ。
そう、みんなありがとう。ちょっと私はまだ賛成したわけじゃないわよ。じゃあ反対？そうも言ってないでしょ。ただなんていうか、
M チル様はみんなが賛成しているとつい反対したくなるお方ですから。
ちょっと人聞きの悪いこと言わないでよ。
では賛成を？
わかったわよ。応援はしないけど賛成はしてあげるわよ。すればいいんでしょ。別に強制はしないよ。意思を確認しただけだから。でも賛成してくれるとありがたいわね。
私は立場上あまりこういったことに賛成するわけにもいかないのだけれど、節度ある男女交際であれば賛成しましょう。
節度って何？
常識の範疇を逸脱しない、適度であるということです。
つまり否認はしなさいよってそういうこと？
どうしてあなたはそう極端なの？
それなら大丈夫。あの子の財布の中にちゃんとコンドーム入れておいたし、もしそういうことになったらちゃんと使ってってお願いするのよって教えてあるから。
それはまた随分と用意周到というか、普通そこまでする？
普通はしないの？しないでしょ。そうなの？うちでは私が14歳の頃にお母さんに教わったけどな。
それは早すぎるでしょ。
ほら、私14の頃にはもう今と身長ほとんど変わらなかったし、学校の帰り道で変な男の人に後をつけられたりしたことはあったからな。なんかあんたも随分としんどい人生を送ってそうだけど、大丈夫なの？体大きい子なんてみんなそんなもんよ。
とりあえず今日の会議の結論は出たと、そう考えてよろしいのかしら。
ですね。 邪魔をしない、八つ当たりをしない、温かく見守るということでいい？
それでこのくだらない会議がさっさと終わってくれるのなら何も問題はないわ。
私も異論はありません。
つまりどういうこと？ちょっとつくづくバカだなこの人はって目で私を見ながらため息つくのやめなさい。つまりね、今までと何も変わらないのよ。は？今までと何も変わらないけれど、マキナとユージの関係が劇的に変化しても驚かないようにしましょうって、その程度のことよ。そんなことのためにこんな会議を開いたわけ？そうね、マキナとユージの関係を考えるなんてのは建前で、結局は私たちが覚悟を決めるための話し合いっていうのが実際のところね。Mチル、あんたは特にバカだから難しく考えない方がいいわよ。ただあの二人が結婚するようなことになってもまあ仕方がないかって諦める準備はしておけってこと。あの二人結婚するの？だからもしそうなっても慌てるなってそう言ってるのよ。この先どうなるかなんて誰にもわからないんだから。まあいいわ、面倒なの嫌いだし適当に合わせればいいんでしょ。そういうこと。では本日の会議は以上で終了とします。お疲れ様でした。
Okay, I didn't really want to interrupt that scene, but that was a pretty nice scene.
全然食い足りないの
Albeit
よさ。
very long
育
one.
ち盛りの身にたい焼き一匹とはいかにも深刻な需要不足なのよさ。
But yeah, it's definitely there to show you guys the dynamics of the other characters. Even though they don't really want this to happen, or at the end of the day, they're not really, what is it, like, I guess, like I said, they're not really bad people, right? Unlike some of the games that I played that has the same sort of setting where everyone is basically fucked up in the head, these guys are actual good people. It's to show that they actually care about each other rather than caring about themselves. I think a single pastry is more than enough of a snack, unless you want Amane bawling you out when you can't eat dinner. In the first place, I'm not too enthusiastic about the whole snacking concept. Eating outside your scheduled mealtimes throws off your body's rhythms, and can contribute to deterioration in overall physical condition. If at all possible, I'd like to teach the girl not to indulge herself except as an occasional reward. Also, if you eat too many of those things, that round little face of yours is going to end up getting even more circular.
丸っこく見えるってだけで言うほど丸くないのよ。
I reach out and pinch Machina's puffy little cheeks between my fingers. Her skin's smooth but sticks tenaciously to my fingers, almost like an infant's. You can tell just from squeezing her face that the girl's properly nourished. No doubt thanks to Amani's thorough nutritional management. Well, the girl's not a fighter pilot or anything, so I suppose putting on a few extra pounds wouldn't pose any real problems. I have no idea what you meant. I'm supposing that last word is diet? Her cheeks still pinch between my fingers. Machina mumbles some variety of question. I tilt my head in puzzlement. Something about a 22 gauge riot? Never heard of a crowd control shotgun with such a strange barrel size. Some new Western model?
パパは太ってる子嫌い？ダイエットした方がいい？
What? A diet? Ah. Well, there's no need to force yourself to lose weight unless it's posing some inconvenience or health risk.
でも下っ腹がぽっこり出っ張っているのはちょっと気になるのよさ。
You're all flat because you haven't developed your abdominal muscles. Want to try some simple training with me starting tomorrow?
おお、そりゃいいアイデアなのよさ。
Nah, a flab is mostly because they're what you call skinny fat, Yuji. So even if you do protrude the muscles, if there's still a lot of fat on the stomach, it's still gonna be puffy.
いいですね。よろしければぜひ私も参加させてください。
お、 そっちん。
おかえりなさいませ、旦那様、お嬢様。
Holding her bamboo broom at one side, Sachi bows reverently. Master?
はい、私マキちゃんの使用人ですから。
Oh, we're still doing that, are we?
さっちん、今帰ったぞ。
おかえりなさいませ、お嬢様。お風呂になさいますか？お食事になさいますか？それとも私？
Damn you, Sachi.
お前じ
おたわむれを。
You two sure get along. Sachi and Makina have always been friendly, of course, but for some reason, something seems a little off today. Can't quite put my thumb on it, but Sachi seems oddly tentative almost. They're squawking and messing around like always, but somehow, Sachi's treating Makina a little more gingerly than usual. It feels a little artificial somehow, like I'm watching a play.
ぐへへへへへ。いいではないか、いいではないか。
あれ、マキちゃん。本当に脱がせて。パンツ引っ張っちゃダメ。脱げちゃう。
さっちんは子じゃ。おとなしゅうしとればすぐ済むけ。天井のシミば数えちょればなあ、じゃろ。綺麗なベベも着せちゃる。学校にも通わせちゃる。ぐへへのへ。
That's far enough, old man.
本気で殴られた。
Well, I figured I needed to stage an intervention before you did something you'd live to regret. And you, Sachi, how about fighting back a little? Look, your underwear's off.
すみません、お見苦しい姿を。
見えちゃったな。
全然恥ずかしくないです。本当です。嘘じゃないです。全く気にしていません。ご希望がございましたら、日を改めてじっくりとご鑑賞いただける時間をご用意いたしますが。
Thanks for the offer, but I think I'll have to pass. Same as it ever was, huh? Was it just my imagination after all? Or so I thought, but now it's Michiru's turn.
ほらマキナ、あんたが読みたがってた漫画貸してあげる。
いいの？悪いね、デドリヒ。
誰がデドリヒよ。おかしく言いながら読んでベタベタにすんじゃないわよ。
ありがとう。大丈夫。すぐ読んじゃうから。
Good as her word, Makina drops herself right down onto the lobby sofa, begins flipping through the manga, swinging her slippers loosely back and forth from the tips of her toes. Hmm? You need something?
私はあんたの娘に漫画を貸してあげたんだよ。なんか言うことあるんじゃないの？
Sure. Thanks.
ちょっと、ありがとうってそんだけ？
What else do you want me to do?
別にあんたが私の頭撫でたかったら撫でてもいいんだからね。
What?
勘違いしないでよね。別にあんたに撫でてもらおうと思って漫画用意したわけじゃないんだからね。
Don't quite follow the logic there, but I think I get the general idea. When I casually reach out toward Michiru's head, the girl twitches like a startled rabbit and quickly takes a defensive posture. What kind of incoherent thought process leads you to ask for a pat on the head and try to ward it off? Ignoring Michiru's tense body language, I grab hold of her cranium like an NBA player seizing a ball, then proceed to roughly scratch my fingers through her hair. Appreciate it, Michiru. It's not like this is the first time Michiru's acted strangely, but once again, I felt something slightly off about her behavior this evening. And it's not just Sachi and Michiru. Normally, Sakaki excuses herself post-haste the instant Makina's in the vicinity, but for some reason she's staying put today. Sakaki, my friend, why are you here?
おかしなことを言うのね。私がロビーで本を読むのがそんなに珍しい？
No, not really, but normally you'd flee once Makina arrives.
騒がしくなると落ち着いて本が読めないから席を外すだけよ。逃げているわけではないわ。それに
Sakaki shoots Makina a glance out of the corner of her eye. The girl sitting quietly on the sofa, knees folded in front of her, restlessly moving her eyes right and left across Michiru's manga.
本を読んでいる間はイリスさんも無害だし。
読み終わった。
That was fast.
ね、チルチル、これの続きは？
Ah, Michiru's not around anymore. I gave her a little pat on the head, after which she squeaked bye and ran off at a sprint for some unknown reason. Probably back in her room, I guess.
もう読み足りないのよさ。たい焼きしかり、漫画しかり、今日は何かと不足しがちな日だね。
仕方がないわね。だったらこれでも読みなさい。
お、何？また BL？
Fucking idiot, Makina.
またって何よ。私だっていつも BL を読んでいるわけでは。
じゃああれか？主人公のパッとしない女の子が不自然なまでにイケメンにモテまくるやつ？
そうよ。今日はそっち系よ。嫌なら読まなくてもいいのよ。
読むボンプが口開けて待ってるだけでイケメンが寄ってくる怪奇小説読まして。
その口ぶりには釈然としないものがあるけれど、まあいいわ。読ませてあげるから静かにするのよ。
Hey, Sakaki, tell me something.
何かしら。
What is this BL of which you speak?
それは
Bo?
うるさいわね。読書中は静かにしなさい。
Huh? Wait, what did I do this time?
BL2 はあれよ。男の子同士で爽やかにイチャイチャする本のことなのよさ。
ほほ
説明しなくてもいいのよ。
ユミちゃんはいっつも面白い本を読んでるのよ。この前借りた犬の本とか面白かったのよさ。
A dog book? Like a photo collection of puppies or something?
ちげえのよ。犬が主人公の小説なのよさ。犬の視点でお話が書かれてて、軍用犬としてわざと植えさせられて育てられた犬のお話なのね。最後はちょっと感動するのよ。
Ho. Like Makina says, Sakaki's taste in literature is more broad than you might think. Even now, I'm still surprised by the stuff I find picking through her leftovers. But at any rate, they do say military dogs have to be constantly starving for something. Can't be relied on otherwise.
でね、勲章をたくさんもらって退役した軍用犬が普通の家庭にもらわれていて、最後はその家の女の子をかばって。
ちょっと本のネタバレはマナー違反よ。
あ、そうか。ごめんよ。
あなたはそっちでおとなしく本でも読んでいなさい。まったく。
I'm a little surprised.
何が？
Seeing you have a halfway normal conversation with Makina.
私だっていつもいじられているばかりというわけではないわ。それにあなたが思っているほど私はイリスさんを嫌っているわけじゃないのよ。
I see.
まあ苦手だというのは否定はしないけれど。
Sounds complicated. Seriously though, what's going on here? I have the distinct feeling every last one of our classmates are being strangely kind to Makina today.
うわー、食った食った。もうお腹いっぱいなのよさ。
Speaking of food, I'm actually pretty hungry myself, Makina. You really gobbled that down. Did you even chew before you swallowed?
つーかマキナ、あんたまだ残ってるじゃないのよ。ちゃんと全部食べなさいよ。
もうお腹いっぱいなのよさ。見ろ、このお腹を。
うわ、ぽっこり。
だろう。これ以上食べたらタヌキフェチにモテモテになっちゃうのよさ。
もう仕方がないな。ユウジが完食させるからだよ。
Yeah, my bad.
まあいいわよ。マキナ、あんたはお風呂入ってきなさい。
うんしゃ、パパ一緒に入ろう。頭洗って。
あんた、女湯にユウジを連れ込む気？ 食器片付けるの終わったら後で私が洗ってあげるから、あんたは先に行ってなさい。アヒル以外のおもちゃ持ち込んじゃダメよ。まったく、こんなに残してもったいない。
With a single remorseful sigh, Amane begins to tidy up the tableware in a vaguely motherly manner. Every few seconds, she absent-mindedly grabs a little of Makina's leftover food and tosses it in her mouth. Now I get it.
何が？
That oversized body of yours, Makina's leftovers are clearly to blame.
あれ？私食べてた？
Completely unconscious, huh? No wonder you ended up that way.
ああ、いや、私ってさ、食べ物を残すのってどうしても許せなくて。
Nothing to be ashamed of, but given that, you sure let Makina off the hook awfully easy today. Normally, Amani had forced the girl to finish her food, even if it meant enduring hours of begging and whining. For some reason, every last one of you people seems to have gone soft on Makina today. Did something happen while we weren't around?
不器用な子が多いからな。何かあったってわけじゃないんだけど、まあ、あったのかな。あんたとマキナがそういう関係になったってことで、今日の放課後に賛成か否かってみんなで話し合ったのよ。
Ah, so that's why you all vanished so abruptly.
まあね。で、話し合いの結果はおおむね賛成ってことで、みんなで生ぬるく見守ることが決まったのよ。
That more or less part bothers me a little bit. Everyone approved?
こういうことに慣れてない子たちばっかりだからね。どう対処していいのかわからないってのが正直なところなんじゃないかな。とりあえず邪魔してやろうって考えているような子はいないよ。
No kidding. That's something to be grateful for.
ユージはさ、マキナのために頑張るって決めたんでしょ。だったら誰も邪魔なんかしないよ。
I see.
男が一旦こうと決めたなら簡単に投げ出すんじゃないぞ。わかった？
I'll bear that in mind. With that, the conversation ceases, and I simply watch Amane from behind as she quietly cleans the dishes. From far away, there's the piercing sound of a siren. Instantly, beads of cold sweat form on my brow. With an odd sense of detachment, I find myself reflecting on newfound devotion to something other than the national interest. A dog raced for his country trying to accomplish something of its own free will. Hard to imagine that can amount to anything much. But I suppose it has to be more meaningful than getting some cheap metal pinned on your collar. For some reason, the burning wave of nausea seems to recede a little more easily than usual. In all things, the fundamentals are what matters most. Followed closely by experience, or so my master used to tell me. When the shit really hits the fan, and you're lying face down in the mud about ready to just give up, your fundamental physical strength and the mental toughness you've gained on the battlefield are what allow you to pull yourself up again and keep struggling forward. I guess her way of thinking must have rubbed off on me at some point. At the time, I absolutely hated that brutal exercise routine she imposed on me. But now I feel downright uneasy if I miss even a single day. I guess that's what happens when people get into exercise or any sort of physical activity. I myself was the same. Hearing a vaguely dopey cry of distress from behind, I slowed to a halt and looked back down the road. Sachi's jogging sluggishly toward me with one arm around Makina's shoulder, practically dragging the girl along. In between gasps of breath, the mate morosely mumbles, although we're 3 laps behind. Meanwhile, Makina collapses to her hands and knees, whimpering pitifully. That's disgusting, Makina. I actually also cycle in the morning with my sister. We wake up at like 5 and then go to the track at 5:30. We do about 5 laps, about 35 kilos. Pretty good. We did it in about Well, I do it in about an hour, while my sister does like 3 laps or so. Clutching her twitching stomach and moaning like an out-of-tune trombone, Makina stares up at me with eyes full of bitter reproach. But she's the one who declared a war on blubber and demanded to tag along with my running from now on. Don't see how she has anyone but herself to blame.
いきなり5キロはさすがに無理がありましたね。
Was it? As someone who runs a full 16 kilometers every single morning, 5 seemed like a pretty generous concession on my part. Hell, the routine was even tougher back at my old school. We'd all get drummed out of bed at 6 in the morning and gather in front of the dorm for a roll call, followed by a sprint to the warehouse to receive a 3.5 kilogram weight, which we would proceed to lug around for the duration of a mandatory 16-kilometer run. And when eager to ditch our aggravating burdens, we finally caught sight of the exercise ground designated as our goal. The relief would often only last for a moment. When the squad leader was in a bad mood, he'd instantly bellow out "right face" to send us running back to the dorm, still carrying the damn weights. More often than not, there'd be another right face waiting for us when we got there. On top of all that, every time he randomly blew his shrill little whistle, we were expected to break into an all-out sprint, so it was near impossible to pace ourselves. On the other hand, I guess that's not really a reasonable standard of comparison.
はい。
It's nothing. You're right. Let's focus on getting you two able to run a single decent lap around the school. It's only 3.2 kilometers or so.
ですね。まずはそれぐらいを目指しましょう。
あまねみたいなパーフェクトボディを目指して頑張るのよさ。
Well, I'd have a hard time calling Amane perfect in terms of body fat percentage, but whatever. For starters, how about wearing some vaguely appropriate clothing? You could have at least thrown on sneakers and sweatshirt or something.
だってパパは軽く走るって言ったのよさ。
Even so, casual clothes and boots aren't exercise gear. On top of which, you haven't shined those boots lately, have you? I should be able to see my face in those things. If this was my old school, you'd be doing 200 push-ups right about now.
ああ、それはボロい方がかっこいいってあまねさんが言ってましたので、わざと磨いていないんですよ。
Not that you're any better, still in a maid uniform as always.
はい、これは運動用のメイド服です。速乾性に優れた特許技術、ウルトラドライマックス素材でできていて、気化熱の作用によって体温の上昇を素早く緩和してくれるのです。コンセプトは裸より涼しいだそうです。
Whatever, Sachi. Tell me something, Sachi. Just how many different maid uniforms do you own?
そうですね。通常用のインターメディエイト、運動用のアクティブ、夏季略装のトロピカル、冬季寒冷地仕様のヘビーゾーンに、ボート鎮圧用のアサルト、医療従事用の白いメイド服のメディック、冠婚葬祭および慰霊式典参加用のコンサバティブの計7種類があります。
Wait, what was that? Counterinsurgency?
はい、何でも強化アラミド繊維で縫製されているそうで、試したことはありませんが、9ミリ程度の銃弾なら苦もなく受け止める上に、かねてより弱点として指摘されていた鋭利な刃物による刺突にも対応した新素材を採用したそうですよ。
What kind of a battle maid would need a uniform like that? I mean, where did you even buy that thing?
それは私が特注で作らせたのよさ。
Why?
いえ、最初はネット通販でメイド服を買おうとしてたんですけれど、1万円で売られているものもあれば18万円もするものもあって、お値段がピンキリでして。
Jesus, 200,000 yen for just one piece of cloth? Or, you know, one clothing? I don't know, that seems way too excessive. Even like 10,000 yen is pretty pricey, you know?
でね、どれ買えばいいかわかんねえっつうから、迷った時はいっちゃいいの買っときゃいいんじゃねってことでね。
I mean, I sometimes use that logic, but even though it's not always the most efficient use of money.
最初はユミちゃんちの出入り業 者に頼んだんだけど、なんつうの？
榊さんの家の家政婦さんはメイド服ではなくて喫茶店のウェイトレスさんの服のようなものを採用されていまして、業者の方もメイド服は作ったことがないとおっしゃられまして。
で、仕方ないから私の家の知り合いのアパレル業者にオーダーで一式作ってもらったのよさ。
ところがその発注した業者というのがフライトジャケットや腕時計なんかを作って軍に納入している業者でして。
So all of a sudden, you end up with a bunch of mil-spec made uniforms, huh?
そういうことなのよさ。アサルト装備にはバイオテロにも対応可能なガスマスクもセットになってて、とってもお得なのよ。
And when is she going to use that exactly?
コンタミネーションレベル8以上の大気汚染度の高いおトイレなどを掃除するときに大活躍します。
A gas mask, eh? I remember getting drilled on putting those things on quickly back at my old school. Guess it was back in middle school when they started that. I remember clumsily pulling an M40 over my face, then being forced to run a marathon with it on. Pretty rough, even by their standards. Even after returning to Japan, I trained numerous times with a Model 4 protective mask. Usually, this involved rushing into a tent full of insecticide fumes. The instructor would bellow "situation, gas" as we fumbled to get the masks out of our waist pouches and onto our faces in 8 seconds or less. Not the most exciting training, but simple skills like that can easily make the difference between life and death in the field. After ejecting the gas inside the mask and confirming an airtight seal, we'd pair off with our buddy and make sure theirs was really on properly. At this point, it's kind of a fond memory.
甚だ失礼かとは存じますが、一つ立ち入った質問をしてもよろしいでしょうか。
Hmm? What do you want to know?
風見さんが以前在籍していらした学校とは一体どのような学校なのでしょうか。
それは私も前々から気になってたのよさ。
What kind of a place? Kind of a tricky question, but let's see. I put a hand on my chin and considered the matter, turning my eyes away from Sachi's curious gaze. I was what they call a self-supporting student. I was already working at a middle school age, but since I was still in the compulsory education period, my employer was kind enough to send me to school at night. That employer I mentioned was an international enterprise with its headquarters in the States. So naturally, the school they paid for me to attend was American as well. I spent the first half of junior high in San Diego, California. Then for the later half, I was moved to Quantico, Virginia. When they finally decided to ship me back to the Japanese branch, I ended up getting transferred to yet another school over here. Hell of a transition, actually. Nothing at all like how things were in America. Less of a pain in the ass in that people weren't inviting me to barbecues every weekend, but you could really see the difference in how seriously the students approached it.
具体的にはどのように違ったのでしょうか。
Not easy to explain, but maybe this will give you the general idea. In America, the whole point was training us to be useful in the field, where Japan was all about training us to pass the tests. Basically, in Japan, the inspection were the only thing anybody cared about.
検閲？
There's something like a test. If it wasn't on the test, they really didn't give a damn. They'd give us a little hands-on experience, but rarely bothered to explain what we were supposed to be learning. At worst, they taught us outright nonsense. I guess this is the author's way of criticizing Japanese learning, or like the whole education in Japan. About the only things America and Japan had in common were the crew cuts and the shitty food.
それは何と言いますか、お勤めご苦労様です。
Well, it's not like I was actually in the service or anything.
でも普通の学校じゃないよね。
I've been feeling a little unsure about our point of reference in that area for a while now. Mind if I ask you this something as well?
どうぞ。
Is this Mahama Academy of ours a normal school?
なんて答えにくいことを聞くんだよ、パパ。
Well, if the question seems awkward, I guess the answer is clear enough.
こういった表現が正しいのかどうかは分かりませんが、私たちが普通に通えている時点で もう普通からは大きく逸脱しているような気もします。
そもそも普通の子は入学してこないのよさ。
So you're actually aware you're not normal, huh?
そりゃそうよ。それに私が普通の子じゃないからパパはパパになってくれたんでしょ。
Guess you might be right about that. It's largely because of Makina's overwhelming, this kid's hopeless aura that I developed my initial interest in her. The more we talked, the more I realized just how badly she needed someone to set her straight. And in time, her sheer cheerful obliviousness inspired an uneasy variety of protective feelings. What's this girl going to do without me around? Didn't exactly have myself down as the nurturing type. But maybe the way I've had defending the nation beaten into my bones is part of the reason I felt the need to protect this carefree, airheaded creature. But that doesn't mean you can just sit back and rely on me. True safety is only possible through accurate situational awareness, moderate caution, and readiness to defend yourself when push comes to shove. Sure, plenty of people sit back and take the protection of others for granted. Easy enough to become a spectator to your own life, throwing tomatoes and booing when things go wrong. But we're going to take a different approach. While protecting you, I'll shape you into a woman with the skill and confidence to solve even the most difficult problems on your own. No whining. If you want to call yourself my daughter, then you're going to become the best of the best. Bear in mind that your failure is my shame. Do I make myself clear? If you understand, then respond. Alright then, let's start with 30 sit-ups. Ranger Komine, your Ranger Irisu's buddy, a sister.
Ranger!
After spurting out a mat on the ground, Makina plunks herself down on her back and bends her knees. Sachi quickly kneels down to hold her ankles steady. Her eyes burning with determination, the girl links her hands behind her head and attempts her first sit-up, but... Despite several seconds of intense effort, she only succeeds in wriggling around on the ground impotently. Eventually, the girl releases her head and reaches both trembling arms straight out towards Sachi. But this too proves ineffective at getting her upper body off the ground. Man, is Makina actually that fat?
Maki-chan, しっかり。まだ一回もできてないよ。
What's all this then? Were my instructions unclear? I didn't tell you to practice your telekinesis, did I? Let's see a damn sit-up already. Show me what you've got. Don't really care about that, but... Makina, you can't even manage a single sit-up? Guess I shouldn't be surprised, but seriously.
現代っ子なんてこんなものなのよさ。
That really how it is?
自分はできるでありますよ。
Sachi, if it's just one or two, that's not necessarily good too, you know? In that case, let's have you show us how it's done. Makina, switch places with Sachi. After a little more squirming around, Makina pushes herself up off the ground and switches places with Sachi.
何回ぐらいやればよろしいでありますか?
How about 30 for starters? Shout, I guess that's like Ranger, from the pit of your stomach on the way up. Helps focus your body on working the abdominal muscles.
わかりました。では始めるであります。レンジャー！レンジャー！レンジャー！
Oh. Sachi repeats her sit-ups with the remarkably regular rhythm of a wind-up toy. It'd be insulting to even compare this effort to Makina's, but even by more general standards, it's quite the respectable pace for a young woman. Keep this up for about 300 reps and you'll be right up there with your average WAC girl. What is WAC? But my admiration proves short-lived. After passing 20, Sachi's pace begins to slow precipitously. What's wrong? Run out of momentum already? Some maid you are. Is that all your devotion to your master amounts to? Don't disillusion me. Show some guts, damn it. Guts! As my abuse rains down from above, Sachi bites her lower lip fiercely.
Sucked up! Beast up!
Sachi, I think that's That's racist. You're a Jap yourself, you know.
それにピッチは甘ねえなのよさ。
Okay, that does it. You have Amane give you a nice hard punch on the double.
なんでだよ。
Is this girl under the impression that the term bitch means something along the lines of sexy and cool?
30回終わりました。レンジャー。
Alright, not exactly earning your salary, but a respectable effort. At the very least, it's 30 better than a certain doughy little pastry face managed.
ひでえ言われようだな。
Why are you laughing? You do understand I'm talking about you, right? I knew that most of our students were indoor types, but to be honest, I hadn't imagined things to be quite this awful. Not that I'm planning to start running my mouth about how soft kids these days are. Or how soft kids are these days, especially considering I'm still in that category myself, but...
マキちゃんの場合、入院生活が長かったこともありますし、まずは人並みの体力を取り戻すところから始めるのがよろしいかと。
I guess that's fair, Sachi. You have a point. In that case, I guess strengthening the cardiovascular system comes first.
おう、任せろ。こう見えてもハートが強いってよく言われるのよさ。
I think they're probably just trying to find a nice way to say completely brazen, but whatever. Well, anyway, let's go with some light cardio. No reason to stress those flimsy little joints, so I'm thinking biking would be the best choice. Hell yeah, Yuji! That's my cardio of choice too. Of course, I don't plan to have the girl push herself up between two desks and pedal the empty air, so we're going to need an appropriate bike.
自転車でしたら私が持ってますよ。
Is it small enough for Makina to use as well?
はい、ミニベロと呼ばれる小径車なので、マキちゃんでも大丈夫かと。
I don't really like mini velos. They look kinda weird. I prefer a full-on road bike.
折りたたみもできて、とっても可愛らしい自転車なので、きっとマキちゃんにお似合いです。
Wait, a mini velo is not a folding bike. The hell? Okay.
ああ、あれな。メイド服にセットでついてきたやつな。
A maid uniform and bike set.
はい、なんでもパラシュート降下時に胸の前に爆体で固定して使用するそうで、敵地での偵察任務において抜群の機動力を発揮することができるとの触れ込みです。
Okay, is this designer a little off in the head or something? Just what kind of hellish environments are these maids supposed to be working in?
風見さんは前時代的です。メイドが給仕だけしていればいい時代はとっくに終わったんですよ。
As far as I knew, we hadn't yet reached the age in which maids are expected to suppress insurgents or perform solo recon missions behind enemy lines. Did something happen to Japan while I was away? Well, whatever. In any case, Makina, let's get you started in some aerobic exercise with the bike.
自転車乗ったことない。
Say what?
だから私自転車に乗ったことないのよさ。運転手さんいたし、車があったから乗る必要とかなかったし、誰も乗り方教えてくれなかったしな。
Man, just use an indoor trainer, Yuji. That's actually tougher than... Well, it's, I guess technically it's subjective. Whether going outside... I guess it depends on the terrain. There are also very ridiculously hard effort climbs outside. But not over here, not in my place. Besides, the traffic here is just not good for actual cycling. So I'd rather cycle indoors with my indoor trainer. I see. It's extremely easy to forget when you're looking at this stumpy little dough face. But come to think of it, Makina's technically a little miss. I guess that's like Ojo-sama. Not really that surprising that she wasn't biking around all over the place. Guess we'll have to start with teaching you to ride then. As I massage the corners of my eyes, Makina thrusts her right hand into the air.
気長に行こうぜ。
Yeah, there's not exactly any other choice.
自転車に乗れるようになったら、次はパラシュート効果ですね。
I don't think so, Sachi. Somehow, I don't think she'll be needing that particular skill. I may have become Makina's father, but that doesn't mean much of anything has changed. The one noticeable difference is that she's now calling me Papa. A little embarrassing on the receiving end, but that's nothing new. Oni-chan felt just as ticklish. That same afternoon, JB gave me a call on my cell. It was a very brief conversation. Just told me she'd delivered all the material she could on Irisu Machina to the Academy administration. In other words, if you want to know that badly, go ask Chizuru. Accordingly, I'm currently making my way to the principal's office. The sparkling floor of the hallway seems to have been thoroughly waxed recently, as every step I take produces a loud squeak. A modern take on the Nightingale floor, perhaps. What a reprehensible woman. Chizuru, you in here?
ちょっと愛人のアパートじゃないんだから自分の部屋みたいに堂々と入ってこないでくれる？ノックをしなさいと何度言えば。
What difference does it make? Hurry up and take a shower. I'll be waiting.
あのね、
Just a joke. You already know why I'm here, right?
そうやって大人の女をおもちゃにしているといつか罰が当たるわよ。
Am I? Well, feel free to elaborate on this theory next time I take you out to dinner.
食事に誘う気なんてないくせに。
It was an indirect way of saying I don't want to hear it. Too subtle for you?
本当に嫌な子ね。
JB got in touch, didn't she? Let me see the documents about Machina.
嫌です。
That won't do. How can I get you to show them to me?
あなたの私に対するこれまでの雑な扱いを謝罪して今後はちゃんと先生の言うことを聞きますって言うなら見せてあげます。
That's an abuse of authority, Chizuru.
そうですとも職権でも何でも乱用しますよ。私だっていい加減頭に来てるんですからね。
I see. Ends justify the means, eh? In that case, I guess I'll have to use every card I've got as well. That alright with you?
何をする気？
My master once beat a certain technique into me, a method guaranteed to make even the most stubborn woman spill her guts. It's a lengthy process and frankly something of a pain to execute, but it seems I have no choice.
ちょっと待って。はい、質問です。
Go ahead.
それはエロスと何か関係が？
Tricky question. Interpretations tend to vary fairly widely depending on personal proclivities? The fuck is that word? Damn you, Yuji. Proclivities? Jesus Christ, that is such a mouthful. Come to think of it, back in the old days, I once made JB apologize to me in tears using the method in question. She's never mentioned it?
確かあの子が甘い声を出しながら無茶なお願いをしてきたら走って逃げろとだけ言われた覚えが。
Might be a little odd to say this myself, but that would probably be wise. If you're going to run, kick off those shoes first. With heels like those, I'll catch you so quickly it won't even be any fun.
痛いことしないわよね。
Come on, do I look like such a cruel man? If anything, in a few hours you'll have a pleasant new perspective on the whole concept of pain. Nothing to worry about.
背筋を這い上がるような不安しか感じられないのはなぜかしら。
On that note, Chizuru, I've got some good news for you. For a limited time only, we happen to be offering a special sale. Fork over Machina's dossier, and all your worries will disappear. Pretty nice deal, right?
わかったわよ。見せればいいんでしょ。見せれば。今用意するから少し待ってなさい。
You have my sincere gratitude for your time.
資料といっても大したものはないわよ。イリスさんの家は暗い部分が多くて、私だってハルデラさんに依頼してやっと手に入った情報なんだから。
As she speaks, Chizuru presses her thumb against a fingerprint scanner and unlocks a small safe installed in her cabinet.
政界の暗部に深く根付いてる家だけに、ハルデラさんのところでも限られた情報しか得られなかったみたいね。はい、これで全部。持ち出しは禁止だから、今ここで読んでいって。
The A4 size envelope she hands me has the words "Removal strictly forbidden" scratched across the front in red pen. I'm not looking for intelligence on the Irisu, you know. I'm only interested in information on the individual Irisu Machina.
イリスマキナを知るということは、イリスケを知るということよ。何せ8年前のイリスケのお家騒動の中核にいたのが彼女なのだから。
Domestic feud?
私も詳しくは知らないし、その資料にも概要程度しか記されてはいないけれど、当時の当主とイリスさんのお父様の間で意見の対立があったそうよ。
Well, I suppose that's worth reading.
あなた本気なの？イリスさんのこと。
What do you mean?
イリスさんの父親になるなんて随分と気楽に引き受けたみたいだけれど、あなたが思っているほど単純じゃないわよ。
Yeah, I think I'm starting to understand that. I've got a vague feeling it's going to be a more troublesome job than I expected. Even so, if Machina needs me, I want to do what I can for her.
後悔するかもしれないわよ。
I'm aware, but when and where it seems necessary, I take action first and sort out the pros and cons later. That's how dogs like us are trained. If you find someone who needs help in a place you're obligated to protect, just do what needs to be done. Simple as that.
無駄に力強いのはアメリカ仕込み？
How rude. I don't remember declaring I am justice incarnate.
あんまりサムおじさんを怒らせない方がいいわよ。親会社なんでしょ。
Is this actually like a jab at America? Freaking heck. I hear that corporations where employees don't badmouth the higher-ups tend to go bankrupt in no time.
ああ言えばこういう本当に口の減らない子ね。
I picked up my sharp tongue from the Americans.
まあいいわ。コーヒー入れてきてあげるからゆっくり読みなさい。
Appreciate it. Just as Chizuru warned me, the documents inside the envelope can't be called detailed by any stretch of the imagination. The reports mainly focus on the history of the Irisu family, tracing their consistently flourishing enterprises from the pre-war era to today, describing their clan structure and naming the houses considered their closest allies. In particular, the careful analysis of the current major players' thought processes and religious ideologies, with an eye toward the risk they might pose to society, stands out as just the sort of meticulous work I'd expect from JB. Since the woman hates relying on personal impressions or speculation in her reports, it feels as though less reliable rumors have been intentionally omitted. While the information that's here appears to be solid, I can't deny that there isn't very much of it. The directly relevant material begins with a biography of Machina's grandfather, a former bureaucrat in the Ministry of Finance. Apparently he was something of a social climber, joining the family by marrying the daughter of a superior. Machina's own father likewise married into the family and took their name, but the real power in the Irisu clan was in the hands of his wife and mother-in-law. And those women, essentially the shadow leaders of the Irisu enterprises, made use of their enormous influence to enrich their family through arrangements tinted an extremely dark shade of gray. When Machina's father realized that he'd been an unwitting participant in large-scale corruption, he took the Irisu's secret account book and tried to come into contact with Naicho, but what is Naicho?
事件に巻き込まれて死亡した。
Finishing the sentence as my voice trails off, Chizuru reaches out to offer me a steaming mug of coffee.
その事件というのがイリス・マサタカ氏の娘イリス・マキナの誘拐事件というわけ。
I see. Accepting the mug from Chizuru, I continue flipping through the documents. A group of criminals who kidnapped Machina off the street on her way back from a language class submitted a ransom demand directly to her father. Just as they instructed, Mr. Masataka headed to the designated spot alone with the money, but was shot to death as he made the handoff.
使用された弾丸は未登録の9ミリ拳銃から発射されたもので、事件発生から8年経った今でも犯人につながる有効な手がかりは得られていない。
No doubt that that's covered up. Following the murder, Irisu Machina was eventually rescued from the scene after spending 6 days there.
そういうこと。犯人グループに拘束されたまま放置されたイリスさんは6日もの間父親の亡骸と同じ部屋に監禁された結果、
I don't know how long people can actually live without food or water, but 6 days without any of that and being tied up on top of that? Yeah. I think she might have been malnutrition after that.
救出された時には体力的に限界を迎えていたのはもちろんのこと、 精神的にもすっかり失調していたそうよ。
Yeah, I guess the fact that she's also with her father's dead corpse, it's probably super rotten by the time she was even aware of what was going on. I don't know, maybe it's actually a good thing that she was malnourished while that was happening. Maybe she wouldn't have seen the corpse as much or even, you know, smell the rotten flesh. I don't know though. So that's why she was hospitalized.
今のイリスさんに見られる言動の異常はその事件が原因だったと言われているわ。入院前のイリスさんはそれこそ神童と呼ばれるほどの天才児だったという話ね。それが事件後は言葉も話せないような状態が2年も続いたそうで。
I guess her, what is it? Her memory is also too strong to actually make her forget about what happened too. So I think that might actually be a curse for her.
イエスかノーか答えられるようになるのにさらに1年。自分の考えを言葉にできるようになるまで2年。人間らしい感情が戻るのに1年。今のように話せるようになったのもここ数年のことのようね。
I see. Shutting the manila folder, I slip it back into the envelope and return it to Chizuru.
もういいの？
Yeah, I've got the general idea. No need to keep going.
もう見たくない？
What's that supposed to mean?
イリスさんの過去はあなたの過去にも通じる部分があるでしょ。だから辛い過去を思い出すんじゃないかって。ごめんなさい。
Is that the reason you were so reluctant to show me this?
そうね。できればそういう過去はあまり思い出してほしくはないわね。
Denying the past doesn't change who you are today. And thanks to my master, I'm still standing.
ごめんね。変なこと聞くけど、生きていてよかったってそう思えることがあなたにはあるかしら。
Well, I've got myself through plenty of situations where death might have been the easier choice. Guess I've been trained well enough to treasure survival for its own sake. Also, I still haven't found the reason I was born, and I haven't even begun to repay the kindness of the woman who saved my life. So in that sense too, I'm glad I haven't ended up dead yet.
そう。
Sorry for asking the unreasonable. I drained the coffee Chizuru brewed for me to the dregs in a single gulp, then placed the empty cup on her desk. Kind of a shame though. You went out of your way to show me the dossier, but there was only one piece of information in the whole thing beyond what I'd already expected.
その情報って？
I'm a little surprised that Makina has a little sister. I was positive that girl was an only child.
妹さんといっても父親が違うらしいし、姉妹的な感覚はあまりないのかもしれないわね。
Well, before that, the idea of Makina as a big sister just seems wrong somehow.
確かに。
After thanking the principal for the information in her coffee, I promptly leave the office. As I stroll slowly down the hallway toward her classroom, I reconsider the intelligence once more. In the end, the information directly concerning Makina herself accounted for maybe a 15th of the total at best. In childhood, she was apparently so talented as to earn the label of prodigy. Hard to believe when looking at the airheaded doofus we know today. But when you give the matter a careful thought, some faint remnants of that brilliance have been in evidence every once in a while. From a very young age, Makina was raised reverently as a child genius, but most of her family was only really interested in converting that talent into hard cash. Same story everywhere you look, I guess. In a house filled with people who viewed her as nothing more than a tool, Makina's one and only true ally was her father. Irisu Masataka was an up-and-coming future elite who'd earned superb grades at a top-flight national university, but unfortunately happened to suffer from a distinctly timid and unambitious personality. And ever since meeting Makina's mother in his school days, she'd apparently exercised an absolutely dominating influence over him. Given how faint of heart the man was by nature, it's easy to imagine how anguished and torn he must have been when he discovered his family's deep involvement in large-scale corruption. In the end, he must have decided to live honestly for Makina's sake, even if it meant betraying the rest of his new family. But that was a mistake. Oh, sorry, gotta clear my throat. Far too many important people would have found themselves in a seriously disadvantageous position if the Irisu clan's records were to be made public. Most likely, the for-profit kidnapping was a ruse devised by his own family, using his daughter as bait, only to kill him in front of her eyes. A clueless bystander in all this, Makino was left tied up in her prison for 6 days with her father's rotting corpse. Hardly surprising that her mind would be deeply damaged. I can't speculate on why they chose to sacrifice the main family's eldest daughter, but after the incident, Makino was removed from her natural position as the future leader of the clan. I kinda know why. Because she was a genius, right? I guess there was, there might have been some anxiety that she could have turned on the family when she got the power for herself. Because at the end of the day, this daughter or this girl is the daughter of that man, right? On paper, she's undergoing continuing medical care for an undisclosed illness, but in reality, she's been effectively disowned. Her younger sister has been given her place as the family's heiress. Her beloved father, the only ally she had in the world, died before her eyes, and then she was thrown out of her house as an unwanted child, huh? Pretty shitty luck all around. That said, I'm not about to let myself pity the girl. To be perfectly honest, this all sounds like a massive pain in the ass. On a purely practical level, it'd probably be wisest not to get too deeply involved. But running away at this point would be far too irresponsible. Misfortune isn't so unusual. I had my share. The world's got quite a few people who didn't grow up under pleasant circumstances in it. But I was lucky enough to eventually meet my master, a person who decisively changed my life for the better. Her help became a huge turning point for me. If someone were to ask me how I feel about my life, I can probably answer, I'm happy enough in all sincerity. Staying alive is a good thing in itself. As long as you keep going, someday you'll find happiness. Someday you'll become useful to someone. The day will come when you earn someone's gratitude. That's why I'm still going. It was my master that gave me the strength of will to believe those things. I close my eyes, inhale deeply, and ask myself the crucial question once more. Can I really do something for Makino, like my master did for me? I looked at those documents in an attempt to understand the thing I wanted to protect, but I was also slightly uneasy that knowing the truth might complicate or weaken my determination. Unfounded worries. I'm not going to give an inch. Not 1 inch. Maybe the real reason I looked over that dossier was to confirm my confidence in myself. There's no problem. Kazami Yuji can't do everything well, but there's nothing he can't do at all. That's actually very true. I think most people should actually have that saying embedded into their mind. You don't have to do everything well, but you can do something, you know? And if I'm not good at something, I can just take the time to improve. I'm not half bad at that sort of sober effort. Finally reaching this conclusion, I realized that I've been standing still in the hallway for some time, lost in thought. That's actually Yuji's, chant, by the way. He does that when he wants to do something serious. I glance at the watch on my wrist. The time's 16:57. When 5 in the afternoon approaches, I still can't help thinking, which direction was the flag again? Old habits really do die hard. I casually look out the window with a wry smile on my face, only to find my classmates approaching the school gate, with hoes and small shovels in their hands. Ah right, it was gardening class. By nurturing something, you gain confidence in yourself. Taking on a moderate responsibility that leads to visible fruits of your labor helps encourage independence. On top of which, you're making a useful contribution to society. That's the general idea behind the horticulture lessons at Mahama Academy. Of course, we're raising broadly competent individuals with exposure to everything from information technology to agriculture. It's also a nice line for the brochures. But if you look at it a little differently, the school is sort of like a barbecue joint. It also offers sushi and ramen. Feels vaguely shady somehow. They've already finished up their lesson at the farm we borrow for the purpose, and all that's left now is putting away the tools. A little strange for me to join in this late in the game. Still, I make my way toward the front entrance. Hey, with that though, I think I'm gonna call it an episode right here. That was actually the perfect time to end the episode by ending that scene. We're actually just at 2 hours exactly, just as that scene ends. But yeah, I am actually going to get some food. If I am not tired, I will probably record more after I get some food. But it is 8 p.m. right now. We'll see. Depends on my mood. But yeah, we're definitely getting to the meat and bones of Grisaia. Even though at the end of the day, the slice of life is still the best thing about this series, I think. Depends on who you ask, really. For me personally, it's about the slice of life. For some people, it's about the action that is on later parts of the game. Not necessarily Kajitsu, but like Mikyu and also Eden.
セーブしますか?
But alright, I'm gonna call it an episode right here. I will get some food, and like I said, if I am in the mood or if it's not too late, I will do one more episode. But for you guys, it's gonna be for next week. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Give it a like if you like it, and subscribe. Yeah, I gotta try to remember to do that. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Peace out.